the story of a Nigerian American woman navigating through this thing called life. Well, welcome to another episode of the Expectation podcast. I'm your host, Yasunde, in the building. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 7. Lucky number 7.
Hey!
Wow. And in the building next to me, we have some Latin flavor, some Peruvian flavor. She runs a mental health business. The accolades are endless. She's just a downright good person. Thank you so much for coming on today, Pam.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you're on. I'm thrilled. I'm empowered. Just even pre-recording some of our conversation. This is kind of like a catch-up.
It is.
I haven't talked to you or seen you in a very long time.
I know.
So I'm glad that we're on the pod and we're talking about life. Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you for doing this.
Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you.
Look at her, making her dreams a reality.
Making my dreams a reality.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Taking that leap of faith and doing things that really interest you and your calling, like what God wants for you. And yeah, I'm just so glad that this is my purpose platform.
Yeah.
And I'm so elated that I'm embarking on this new journey for sure.
I'm so happy. Yeah. I'm here for it.
And I'm
here
so much.
Here to support it 100%.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Get a little bit closer.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you. So let's see. What's your mood like? How are you feeling today on this? It's beautiful outside.
It's a beautiful day.
It's such a beautiful day.
It's full of greenery outside today.
Yes, it is.
And actually, while we were driving, we saw this huge eagle down the road, just like flying.
An eagle.
Spread
your wings.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't know. There's always all these like little signs that come up, and I always believe in those signs. Like it's just little things that God just speaks to you.
Yes. God definitely.
Good sign.
So, what space are you in mentally? I
think I'm in a good space. Like I feel happy, and I feel that I am in this space of just going with the flow.
Okay.
And embracing life as it is. That's the space that I'm in right now.
Okay, so you're in a space of like rolling with the punches.
Not the punches, but going without resistance.
Okay.
In life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And just whatever it brings, you're just like...
It's kind of like going through life without being the resistance of the things that you want or the things that you are thinking it should be in some specific way. Letting the lessons kind of learn the lesson that life is showing you at that moment.
Wow. Okay.
And then you directing, just because you are in that flow, you can still direct your raft.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in the just letting it go and letting it flow.
Yeah. Okay. Like centering within myself and just going through life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you are on the Expectation podcast.
Yes.
So throughout your journey, and navigating this thing called life, what have been some of your unmet expectations?
Yeah, that's a deep question. I think the unmet expectations for me have mostly been self-imposed more than what others have told me. And maybe it's just, I think I come from a different country. Yeah. Like when I came here, Peru flavor. Mm-hmm. So I think just coming from a different culture and different realities.
Yes.
It's very interesting because I was actually kind of meditating or really thinking about your podcast and what that meant for you.
Wow.
And what these words mean to me, and how when I was growing up, I honestly felt pretty good, in a sense that I didn't have these pressures.
Okay.
Or growing up over there, I remember not really thinking or seeing much. We had TV, obviously. We had, music and everything. But I just remember being a kid more playing outdoors, enjoying my time. So coming here, I remember there was a lot more pressure into what you're wearing, the shoes that you have. Are you looking in a certain looking a certain way? Is your, I don't know, whatever, you not have hairy legs, you have hairy legs, girl, that's the real talk, right? Yeah, when you're 13 or 10 or what, you're am I looking like this? Do I have a pimple right here? Yeah. It's just really silly things that I think back as I guess in any culture you can experience that. But when I was really young, like living over there, I felt like it was just living. I remember, every year just like enjoying life and just we had carnivals over there,
Okay.
which was actually a thing that you celebrate for like I don't remember how long. I think it's like a whole weekend or so. I think it's kind of past now, but back when I was little, you used to just go out on the streets and like it was just like carefree.
Is it similar to like the Brazilian carnivals or like the Caribbean carnivals?
Kind of like that, but I would say I was little, right? So it was more of a like water balloon fight. People will throw color, paint at you, and your neighbors or anybody else can really like do anything like that on the street. Like you could be walking and everybody outside, like you have a fair shot at getting poured at, like it's
Anybody can get it.
no one's safe, right? And you're just I feel like that vibe just gave me a sense of like you're just living, you're just being, and I didn't feel that like you have to have this, you have to. There was an expectation of school. I think that's like a standard thing across the board where school was very important. I did go to I did go to a private like Catholic school when I was there. So it was very much like you have to respect this, very religious, very much like you do this prayer, like it was very much like that. But then that was the strict part. But then a lot of the other stuff was kind of like, wow, I remember just being and just living, right?
Carefree.
Just carefree.
And then because you were younger, maybe.
Okay. and then just coming here. But I was here when I was here. I came like when I was 9 or 10.
Okay.
So but then coming here, it was just like a big culture shock because the things that I was like, oh, where's everybody? When are we gonna play water balloons with everybody? Everybody's like, what? I don't want to get wet. Like my hair's not getting wet. Like you can't just like do that with anybody. You cannot. And it was just so like different for me, right? And I had it was culture shock. I had to accept a new reality, and then also that I didn't what's it called, like I guess back then I could talk to all my neighbors, or like we lived in this like if your building was here and all your neighbors and everybody's kids and everybody's just coming out and everybody's your uncle and your aunt, your neighbor. So it's like that's how I grew up. So then coming here and like all your neighbors are your neighbors, and maybe some of them you'll never even see. You don't know their life, and it's such a individual way of like living, like more individualized, and just again, like I guess as teens we can go through this in any country, but then adding that kind of thing to the bucket list of like shoulds, maybe it's what kind of shifted that. I'm like, like when did I start having like unmet expectations, right? Like when did I really start having these thoughts of like, oh, I should be doing this way, or I'm adding this like extra pressure to myself. When in life we are what we are, and we are always learning and developing ourselves through life. So yeah, it just really made me like think about that.
You mentioned something really interesting. Last week we had Adele on, who's from Somalia, and she mentioned the same thing. Nigerian culture is the same. Like everyone's your aunt and your cousin. And that's so funny because here it's not like that.
Yeah.
There are times when you won't see your neighbors. You won't see your neighbors for months, or you don't even have that type of relationship with them.
Yeah.
But back home and, in our respective countries, everyone's family, you're seeing everyone outside. You're building, cultivating relationship with your neighbors, even though they're not blood family, So that's so interesting how we're from different countries, but a lot of our family dynamic is very similar.
Yeah.
And one thing I really respect about the Latin culture, and I always tell Gabby about this, is the unity amongst you all. Like family is everything to you all. And I think a lot of cultures are like that, but more so what I've seen growing up is that it's family over everything. Like you guys don't play about family. Your cousins are like your siblings. There's not like a disconnect. You all get along really well. You value one another. Even though mom and dad might not be getting along, that's none of my business. My cousin is still like my cousin, my sibling almost. And I've always admired that about the Latin community.
No, for sure. And I think to take it to an extra extent, because I think for me the difference is that I guess I am an only child, so I didn't have siblings and I didn't have any of that. But to me, my not just cousins, but like my mom's friends' kids and my friends' friends, they all became like kind of like my extension of brothers and sisters that I didn't have. So
Yes.
so I think of them as like, I love you like a brother, you know, and I
Yeah.
tell that to some of my close friends that they're not family at all. Like they're from a complete different country in Latin America and like complete different families, but our families connected at one point or another. And they're just great people, and it's just a genuine love that you have for people. I think that's what
Wow.
connects us as humans, especially, you know, I guess in my case that I didn't have actual biological like brothers and sisters that I can really connect with. And also for me, the difference was also coming here. I didn't have, you know, siblings or even a lot of cousins where I was around. So
Yes.
I had to make my circles in a little bit different way.
So when you first,
There you
yeah,
go.
we got
You good?
yeah, I'm good now. So when you first came, you went to California. You didn't, was it
Yeah.
California?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in California, so I was there for a while. And you know, California is very different too than here.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different. I think we're more into the bling and the glitz, the glam. Um and that was very interesting too, because I knew there was a bunch of, I mean, I there's a lot of great people in California, great hearts. Um and there's but then there's like that whole, it's not them, it's more like how the culture is, you know?
Yes.
It's like how everybody has to embrace that, and you know, the glitz and having the
It's
latest
really
stuff.
LA.
It's very
Very
LA.
LA, very like you said, glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
Who you know, what you have on,
Yeah.
that type of
Yeah.
I guess atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be such a struggle for me. I
Yeah.
don't, yeah, I just, yeah, can't give
Yeah.
it the superficial, very superficial,
Yeah.
right?
But that's the thing though, like I guess from to me it's like I understand it. I understand where that's coming from.
Mm.
And but I guess to me I see people beyond that. And
Okay.
that's the thing, like I enjoy making really, like, I guess, heart to heart connections with
Yes.
people. And I know who they are,
Yes.
right? It besides what they're wearing. So
Yeah.
it's really great when you really get to know people for who they are, regardless if they want to show up in a different way in the real world, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I enjoy about people. Like everybody has their own ways of being.
Yes.
And it's just embracing that, and understanding that my way is not the right way, right? Like just because I'm more casual and I'm not really into the glitz and glam as much, I do enjoy it sometimes. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
like, hey girl, like let's do this. Let's
Yes.
like glam up. Let's get this
Like,
done.
don't
And
play. Like,
yeah,
I clean up
yeah,
very nice.
yep.
I clean up
I know.
nice.
Same.
I
And
clean up nice.
you know, but it's just not our like day to day,
not the
right?
day-to-day
And
thing.
it's fine. Like we just embrace both sides.
Yeah,
You
and I
know.
think that's the beauty of, just like you said, humans. We're very different. I think our differences is what makes us beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because imagine everyone being the same. But we're
Yeah.
kind of morphing into a world where everyone is like trying to be like the next person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
I guess if you know who you are at the core,
Yeah.
you're not swayed by that type of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've taken a break from social media for such a long time. I kind of
Wow.
like just disconnected. Kind of like, I guess when we stopped, like not stopped talking, but we kind of like been doing our own thing and our
Right.
own growth process.
Right.
It, you know, it was more of like the independent, like growing within yourself, finding yourself, taking that
Yes.
time for yourself without the influence of the like the shoulds of the
The
external
shoulds,
world, that
right.
maybe it's not even what you really want, but it's what you're being influenced to want.
Exactly. I have these conversations. We have these conversations all the time. The influence of social media,
Yeah.
and I think how detrimental it can be if you're not careful.
Yeah.
You can get sucked into a whole nother world that's like, it's almost a fake world,
Yeah.
like a facade. It's just weird. And
Yeah.
I'm new to social media because obviously the podcast, I
Yeah.
have to kind of get people spread the word about the pod. But to be
Yeah.
honest with you, I can't get with it sometimes. It's a struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
it has its pros and its cons, but I guess it is what it is. But like we said before, knowing who you are at the core, and I think that really helps navigating that whole social media world.
Yeah, no, you're so right.
And
And
the
I
effect it can have on mental health. And we'll talk about mental health because you
yeah.
are a mental health professional. Well, you manage a mental health firm.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. And that's very true. And I think when I think about social media, before when I was younger, I used to think like, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's great. And then it wasn't so much that it's not, but it also makes me really cautious, I guess, about what I'm sharing, because I also know there's other
Ooh.
people out like that are watching that.
Yeah.
And to me, I just want to kind of like emit like hope and goodness to them, right? Because you don't know who's watching and you don't know what they're going through. And they may think that life is just like one way when it really isn't. And the hard part is for us, or for me, to just come out and be like, hey, this is life and this is how it is, you know? It's not always perfect.
We'll
Perfection.
Because who defines perfection?
Yeah.
Who?
Nobody.
Nothing. No one can define perfection, because guess what? No one's perfect.
Yeah, and we just keep filtering our life as much as we can to be like, you got the perfect shot, you got the perfect lighting, you got the perfect, you know, tone, the right communication, the right words.
Right.
But, you know, the only way we just become better at in life and in what we do and what we are aligned to do and meant to do is just by doing those things.
Yeah. And I was gonna say that perfection is such a perspective way of thinking. Like, what would seem perfect to you might not be perfect to me.
Oh yeah.
XYZ. So it's all a perspective thing.
100%.
Perspective is such a catchy word, because perspective is almost everything when you think about it. Because we all are different.
Oh yeah.
In the way we think and the way that we process.
Yeah.
So our perspectives are different.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty also is to be open to different perspectives.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. You're so right.
It definitely it creates an open mind. It creates room for growth.
Yeah.
So perspective.
Yeah.
I've been big on that lately, is perspective.
Yeah. I went through that place too, and I think one of the things that I gathered was a lot of our perspectives, right, is our own lenses and how we grew up, or our, even you could have a family, same brother and sister, same mom and dad, same schools they went to. One will turn out completely different than the other. Right? And it's because maybe we internalized or we told ourselves different stories in a certain way, in what that meant to me, and I decided to cope with it in that manner. This is the internal stories I told myself all the time. All right. So we were talking about how you could have, you know, two siblings living in the same household, same school, same kid, same going to the same schools, same mom and dad, and same experiences in a sense, but depending on what we told ourselves, or based on what we saw and what we reflected that to our lives, and we told ourselves that's our narrative, we lived our life in that manner. So it doesn't mean, you know, we can't change that down the road or work on those things, but it's just kind of like our internal talk. It's so, it could be really helpful, but it could also be really detrimental at times.
Yeah, I know in our culture, see, like with siblings and stuff, in Nigerian culture is often like, if your sister is super accomplished, you should be able to be on that level. The next sibling. So there's a lot of pressure, even within siblings, because the expectation is you came out the same womb, you're supposed to be able to achieve the same things. And it's not, it doesn't happen like that. But that's such an interesting, maybe you can talk about this a little bit more from the mental health, like the mental perspective. Like, why isn't it?
Right.
Because you're saying something about like the internal stories we tell ourselves.
Right. You're an
But what is, like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
we're all independent people, and we all have our own independent, you know, thoughts. We're all in, like, we, even though we came to the same places, in the sense we came to this world on our, like, we are an individual that came to this world. We're gonna leave alone, like our body is gonna leave, right? And we all have our internal, like, desires, our essence are so different from one another. And I think that's part of it, but also the stories, like who you are, what fuels you might be something completely different than what feels like your sister or your brother, right? But and then part of that is like, okay, then the story I'm telling myself is X, Y, and Z. But sometimes your essence might be like, I want to do a podcast this whole time, right? For my whole life. Like, that's what I want to do. I don't know. I want to be in radio maybe my whole life, but I need to follow this other path because I have to do this, right? I have to sustain myself, or my parents told me, like,
that's the pressure.
Yeah, that's
societal pressure.
Yeah, but that's societal, and we're reacting to that versus being like, okay, like, I want to do this, right? And like, what can I do to make my things happen? And how can I accept myself for just being me?
Wow.
Right? Like, how can I am okay. Like, what, like, accepting yourself as you are.
Okay.
And what does that mean? Sometimes it to me, I would struggle. It's like, oh no, like that means I'm not, I'm not going after things too much, or maybe I should do all these things. But it's like, is that what you want? Or is it because you saw the sister doing it? You saw the influencer doing it. You saw like your professor doing it. You saw your friend doing it. Is that really what's in your heart that you want to do? Or you're like, man, I wish I could do that. Why? I don't know. I just wish I had more attention, or I wish I had, like, what is the actual deeper call within your heart and within you? And that's what it takes that time to do your internal work, right?
It's so important. And the desire to want to grow, the desire to want to change.
Yeah.
Because if you already think you're perfect,
oh, nobody's perfect.
You deem perfect, then you're going to have little to no wiggle room for growth. Yeah. And that's so unfortunate. Somebody with a small, like, trapped mindset, it's actually quite sad, because a lot of people do live like that. They think they know it all. They think that they've grown and they've just kind of exceeded. Everyone has room to grow. Yeah. No matter how old you are. Yeah. There's always something to be learned. Yeah. There's always another perspective to be gained. Yeah. So everything in life is. Yeah. I'm big on right now. I'm in the space where I'm big on, like, just growth, bettering myself, becoming a better version, whatever that looks like. Yeah. And just happiness and internal peace. Yeah. That's the space I'm in.
You accepted yourself as you are, and you're content with yourself. Yeah.
Not content, wanting to grow.
Right. But content does not have to be, I don't want to grow.
Okay, so talk about that. Yeah. Because when I hear content, I think of, like, I'm good where I am.
No, fulfilled with who you are at this moment. Okay. It's just you are you, and you're embracing your present moment. Versus just chasing the next moment so you can finally feel fulfilled. Gotcha. You're never going to be fulfilled if you're always chasing that next moment and you're never fulfilled today. But if you reframe yourself and you frame yourself from a good side, like, I'm fulfilled today, you use that to propel you to your goals and to where you want to go. Because you're in a good mindset. You're happy. Right. You're good. You're grounded in you.
Yeah, see, well, I know why you're the mental health specialist, the mental health, like, business owner. Yeah. Can we talk a bit about that? Because even hearing you talk, I know it's something that you've always desired to do, and we've talked about like our purpose and our things that make us happy. And I feel like that's something that you're living right now with this mental health practice. Yeah. So can we talk a little bit more about it and plug it also?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So part of the mental health piece is that it's very interesting story. I never really talked about that, but it's something that I just been really, really passionate about helping others. I knew in my heart that I always wanted to do something that was meaningful and that would help others. I always thought about, like, oh, why can't people just get on a diet and, like, be great? Like, you know what to do. Like, all the evidence is out there. Why can't people just get out of, like, not being sad anymore, or, like, whatever. But it's not that. It's like there's something deep within us and our internal talk and our internal conversations, and that it's like we have a whole world inside of us. And I think, to me, that was one of the most meaningful ways to just give back. And I feel that I just been doing this from the internal side and, like, structuring things and working on, like, okay, the processes and the internal stuff of, like, the business side. But it is something that I'm very passionate about. And I guess because I'm perfectionist, I'm a healing, recovering perfectionist. I haven't really, like, stepped out and, like, been in front of a mic and really talk about those things that matter. But we've had conversations. Personally, I've had conversations with friends and, like, things that just, to me, it's a very natural something that I really gravitate towards. You're good at it. And it's not about dwelling in that, and it's not just about that, oh, you're going through this thing, but actually, how do you conceive that, and how do you change your glasses, right? Like, those perceptions that we have. The lens, let's clean our lens, because it's just a lens. It's not reality. It's our lens, right? So how do we clean that? How do we arrange that so that you can be propelled and you can actually do good? And not that you're not doing good, but what I mean is, like, you can do the things that are fulfilling you without, like, rejecting yourself at this moment in time. Like, this is already great. Like, you have a podcast, you have things going on for you. This is an achievement from where you were at 4 years ago thinking about this.
Wow. Progress.
Right. This is already growth. Yeah. And not saying, like, I'm content because I'm not there yet. Girl, you are where you are today, where you were not 4 years ago.
Wow. Come on, Pam. Look at you.
All right. Sorry. Okay.
Pam, so you know something that's always stuck with me. We went out to eat, like, I think it had to be like 4 years ago. 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a really, really bad space in my life. I was in a really horrible relationship at the time and just not happy. And I remember, and I was just really sad. And I remember you said this to me. You were like, Sunday, it's going to be okay, but just know the importance of someone being your peace and not your peace. You said that to me. So PIECE versus PEACE.
Mm-hmm.
He's not your peace. That peace comes from you. That internal PEACE. Yeah, he can be your little side piece, but they're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot bring you peace. Internal peace comes from you.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remember that.
Oh,
I don't even know if you remember saying that to me, but that's always stuck with me. That stuck with me for years. And I remember that conversation and that just kind of helping me get through that day or whatever I was feeling at that moment. So going back to like the mental health piece, PIECE, and the tools that are required to get through those tough times and clean those lenses.
Yeah.
I love that. You are living your dream.
Yeah.
A purposeful platform with the practice and helping people clean their lenses. And that's pretty cool. Wow.
Helping them in their healing process and their journey.
Yeah.
To becoming, to doing them, to being them, and honoring their own selves.
Yeah,
as they
becoming
are
the best or better version of yourself.
Yeah, but first by honoring yourself as you are and getting to that point.
And acknowledging it when you do make those big strides.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't celebrate ourselves, right? Wow. And I think I'm guilty of that too.
Because I'm going to say something pre-recording. Pam was like, I kind of don't want to just talk about myself. Well, I said, today you're going to talk about yourself because that's the premise of the pod. You're going to talk about your journey. You're going to talk about your accolades. You're going to talk about your growth because that is the premise of this podcast, for us to come on here and connect dots and talk about our experiences. And it's because it's relatable. Yeah. Pam, it's relatable. A lot of people experience a lot of the things we do, and I want people, when they hear this pod, to be like, I feel the same way. Wow, this is relatable. Wow, if she's going through this, I'll be fine. Or if she's in a bad place, I'll be fine. Like, that's the premise. That's the purpose.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that was one of my fears, right? Like coming in here, I don't know what's I don't want myself. Yeah. And that's very true, because I stepped away from social media. I stopped like all of that because I just, it is tough to do that. But I think what brought me to this was I was really kind of connecting with myself and wanting to be more around, like, to me, I really value creating. Those are things that I really value. And then boom, you text me about that. I was like, it's kind of, it's all like, it just happens. Like, it just, I
envisioned you. I was like, I want Pam to come on my podcast. Like, I just felt like I wanted to come and sit down and talk to you. First, because we haven't talked in quite a while, and one, because you have an amazing journey that you're still kind of navigating through, as we all are. So I'm glad that we're able to connect on the pod. So let's talk a little bit about travel. I see that you were recently in Jamaica, and travel to me is life.
I love it.
And that also can have a huge impact on your mental health. So it's all kind of interconnected. Yeah. So let's talk about Jamaica a little bit. That's one of my favorite countries.
I love it, because you've been traveling a lot too.
I'm such a traveler. I think I'm on like 27 countries.
Girl, yes.
Yeah, so, and counting. So yeah, I love travel. That's my happy thing to do.
I know. Yeah. That's one thing that I started. I think I always wanted to, but I remember for a lot of my, a few years, several years, for me, when I could have been maybe traveling to other countries, I was going back to Peru all the time because I had some family members I had to take care of and things like that.
Because family is everything.
Because family is everything. I kind of like dropped everything, and I didn't really care about embracing those other, explorations on myself. But anyways, part of the growth process was, hey, you have to take care of yourself, and you have to do the things for you. You have to invest in your own, like, what brings you joy. And if you want to discover other cultures and just embrace and like feel those moments, that is some gift that you're giving to yourself, and nobody can ever take it away. Right? Like, as much as you get it in pictures or videos or whatever, like you lived it and nobody else can take that away. Like that conversation you had with a random stranger on the street from that country, those words that they told you, what you learned from their, how they're living their life.
Yes, exactly.
Those are things nobody can take away. And that's what I love about traveling. So I started traveling again, and I have a trip planned, another trip planned coming in like 3 weeks now.
Where are we going?
We're going to France, Ooh. Italy, and Spain.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're doing a Euro trip.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have
little
such
moment.
a good time.
Yeah.
And the weather, it's like warming up over there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's gonna be such an experience.
I'm here to embrace it. Yes. I'm here for like the whole experience and the vibes, the history, the streets, the people. So yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. I'll share some of those updates with you.
Please do. You'll definitely come back and tell us about that. All about that. I was in Italy in September. Oh, it was a cool trip. A very, very, very cool trip. We did like an Italy tour. So it was like Amalfi. It was Rome. It was Pisa. It was pretty cool.
That's
the
awesome.
Food.
Oh, really?
It was.
I'm gonna really look into it because I was hearing that there's a lot of tourist traps.
Oh, okay. Yes. We definitely got caught in a couple of those traps. For sure.
Okay. That's what I heard.
Food, I said, what?
Yeah, you're expecting
the land of like pasta.
Yeah.
I was highly disappointed with food in Italy. Extremely disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna all right.
Maybe we just didn't go to the right places. We went to spots that were too touristy.
I don't know.
That's what it was.
You went to touristy spots?
We went to a couple of touristy spots. Okay. They did really touristy things.
Okay. I'm gonna see. I was trying to, I think I'm gonna go back and I want to do more like a rural trip.
Okay.
So that I think would be better. But for now it's like just we'll see. I'll have updates to see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, my last trip was Jamaica.
And I saw you on that raft.
Oh my god!
What is that rafting called? That all the influencers do.
It's there's 3 rivers.
Okay.
And there is I forgot. Oh, one of them is Good Hope, Martha, Brea, and Lethe. Yeah, there you go. Look at me remembering. So there's like 3 rivers or 3 areas that they launch from. Mm-hmm. And I think there's obviously a lot more.
What part of Jamaica were you in?
I went to Montego Bay and Ocho Rios.
Okay.
I was just there for like 7 days or so I didn't have that much time to explore too much.
Oh, yeah.
But it was more of like a celebratory birthday. It was my boyfriend's birthday there, and then
Johnny.
Yeah,
the great guy.
And so he was celebrating his birthday, and then we did like a like just a fun vibes birthday. I think Montego Bay was a lot of it seemed more touristy to me. It seemed like I did not leave, like,
Did you leave the resort at all?
Montego, well, yeah, I went to the rafting and I did the what's it called?
The Dunn's River?
Dunn's River. Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
No, Dunn's River is lit. I love Dunn's River.
Love Dunn's. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was amazing. But the actual river, so we were first at Montego Bay, and Montego Bay was cool. Like the resort that we stayed at a resort, obviously. So unfortunately, there's a lot of like talks about Jamaica and just getting out and not being safe and all these things.
Yeah.
But I actually connected with this like local taxi guy, and he was the one taking me everywhere, telling me all these stories about different places. Obviously, it's different culture, different things. But we did get out and explore a little bit. We weren't there for that long, so we went there, and then in Ocho Rios, we did so I think it was from Montego Bay. We did the rafting.
Okay.
And it was at a small place, but yeah, there's the 3 rivers, and some of them are called like reggae raftings.
Okay.
There's a company that does it. I forgot what their name is, but like they do different raftings. Some people have great experiences, some people don't. Because I've seen on TikTok or like Instagram or whatever, where people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I came." Well, you know, I'm like,
no, you were having a blast.
Yeah,
like picking up the rocks. Yeah.
Oh my god. Nice. Yeah, where I went, it was really great. There was some locals like around, and they had fruit, and they'll just toss it, and then you can just grab it and like eat it, and it was really really great. And
Jamaica's awesome. Yeah. As far as like my best experience in Jamaica has been like off the resort with locals, like hanging out in their local towns, and 10 out of 10 highly recommend like getting off the resort. Yeah, but obviously knowing people.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do want to go back with people like that that are familiar with the area a little bit more. But yeah, my taxi driver, he took us everywhere, and he was really great. And he shared, but we didn't know any locals. Yeah. So but yeah, I think I would definitely go back. Yeah. They have the mountain there. That's gorgeous. Yeah, I wanted to go, but I mean, there was not enough time. Yeah. But yeah, that's my vibe. Like, I would totally go to the mountain and like just chill and like have coffee. Yeah,
that's where all the Rastas are. Yeah, the Rastafarians.
Yeah, I would totally do that. Yeah,
empresses and all that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that trip was great. The river was great. And the Duns River, it was gorgeous and so refreshing. So nice. Beautiful.
Did you jump off like the rocks and stuff like that into you didn't do that? Did you see people doing it though? Like,
no.
They would jump off and do all that like diving.
Oh my god.
Could you come dive into the
No, I think that's the Rick's Cafe.
No, I've seen people, because I remember at Duns, or maybe I think, was it Rick's? Where you can they jump off the rocks into, because there's some really deep parts in that river. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking Rick's Cafe.
Well, the area that I went to was not that deep.
It was pretty shallow. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So great experience in Jamaica.
Yeah, it was beautiful. The food was great. Yeah.
Jamaican food, I think, is definitely,
or chicken.
I think might be top 5 of my favorite foods to eat. But then also, I love a lomo saltado.
Yeah.
So, do you know how to make lomo saltado?
Yes, girl. I can cook for you here if you want.
Yeah, so good. That's my favorite Peruvian dish for sure, lomo saltado.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your Jamaica travel, and then you're heading off to Europe.
Yeah.
That's what's up for sure. Yeah. That's what's up for sure.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing, right? I think now it's more of a, hey, let's just embrace life and let's just go with it. Pick up and go, and that's what you've been doing. You've been living, girl.
Life is for lifing. Yeah. So I was like, life is for lifing. So I'm really big on just living your best life and taking advantage of opportunities that present itself, especially for traveling and just being fun and being happy. And because life is never promised.
That's the thing. You let go of the expectations and you can just live life.
That's true. Let go of expectations and live.
Just live.
Life is for living. God didn't put us on this earth to be sad and depressed.
Yeah.
And overthink. Nah, that's not the type of life He wants for us.
That's why. And you're just honoring your life by actually living it.
Exactly. That's true. Honoring what He wants for us by just living.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's good enough.
That is more than good enough. Perfect. And
that is perfect. That is perfect. Because then you can.
Yes, that is perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. Dang, Pam. So we've talked about so many great things on this episode.
Yeah.
So let's wind down a little bit. And let's talk about some of the best words of advice or affirmation you give your 21-year-old self based on what you know today.
Okay, so I think I have something, and I don't know if this will make sense. We can see how it is, but
let's do it.
I guess unmet expectations. I was reflecting on that, right? Okay. It's some idea that we have not lived, but we should be living based on what our own thoughts of what I should be or what others think I should be.
Okay.
And holding on to that identity as our own, I should be that, and that should be my identity. That's who I should be, right? But accepting yourself as you are, which we've been talking about, and letting go of resistance is honoring your life at this moment. Instead of coming from a source of resisting, surrender to the lesson and let the current of life propel you to the next adventure. When you're ready, you can still direct your life, like if you're floating down a river in a raft, and trust that you are enough, that you're resourceful, and the path that you are on should be telling you where you're going next, right? If something is you're going against the current, there's a lesson in that. So trust that it might be a different path, and it's the best way, and trust it.
Wow, that was well said, Pam. I completely understand what you were saying. I love it.
Oh.
I love it. That is such good advice. That is really, really good advice. Wow. I love it. Thanks, Pam, for that. That was good. And like you wrote it out. I kind of want to see, like, you could probably send that to me.
Yeah,
I have to me.
Yeah, I will email it to you. And I have I have a little bit more here. The part that I wrote to was like the sun, like trust, right? Like the sun shines for everybody.
Okay.
And when you go down a river, you see that there's more grass, there's more trees down the river, there's more flowers, and there's enough for everyone. So keep going in, leveraging your new flow. You do not know where this will merge to a new path, a new discovery of something new. Or maybe it'll merge to the path that you were on in the past, but it's just a greater path.
Wow. And then all that, basically, I feel like it encapsulates just being open-minded.
Yeah.
Open your mind.
Yeah.
To that different direction, to the different direction currents might have you flowing in.
Because in perfection, we're just trying to control.
Ooh.
You know, like that's the essence of it. It's just that control without us acknowledging that. The hardest part is for us to reflect on that and really like see within and acknowledge that nobody can help us until we help ourselves.
Wow, let go of that control.
Yeah. Let go of that.
Let go of
Live life.
Live life. Life
is for living.
Life is for life. So we're about to move on to the next segment of the pod, my favorite segment, on repeat. What are we listening to this week or at any given time?
Oh, okay. Lately, I've been listening to Calm Down. Okay, so that's, I just been on that. I don't know why.
The one with Selena Gomez is the original.
Man, even that record that you have right there, that was one of the ones that I put in my little Instagram.
Legend?
No. Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, damn, by Kendrick Lamar. That's one of my favorite albums by him for sure.
Yeah.
I love that album. Yeah.
So I love
Kendrick, a little bit of Rema.
Yeah. Just like the good feels, you know, like the good feels, the good vibes. Let's go. Let's live life, man.
Wow. So
life is for living.
Life is for living. So this week I've been listening to, like, it's been on repeat, and I don't know why. It's so random. It was Davido, CK, and somebody else. It's called What to We? It's a really good song, really catchy. That's been on repeat for me this week, and I just love the vibes of that song. It sounds good. The beat is like everything. It's a little bit of a Mapiano, like Afrobeat. It's like it's a vibe. It's older though, but I still really love it. So as we're entering towards the end of the pod, I want you to plug the mental health facility, or not facility, the practice. Plug it, and then I'll put it also in the description box.
Thank you. So the practice is called Mind Elevate. It's actually to elevate your mind. That's the thought, right? To get you out of that. So a lot of our clients are on that journey. So that's the wonderful thing. We niche on that. I can share that info with you, and you can add it there. More than happy to, connect people and with others, and just I think we all need each other.
Wow.
Bro. So
Milevate.
Yeah.
Wow. Shout out to Milevate. Go get your mental health. Anything mental health, Milevate. Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. I appreciate you so much. This is episode 7, lucky number 7. Thank you so much, Pam, for coming on. I appreciate you so much. Welcome. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, spread the word, let people know about this pod, because we're here to stay. Please send in your questions or dilemmas to the unmet expectation at gmail.com. Again, that's the unmet expectation at gmail.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Enjoy. Take care. God bless. We out. Yay! That was good.